Hey, don't worry about what Torrence said. He'll be back. I'm just trying to holler at you till he get here. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Torrence, and as you saw by the title today, we are doing my male makeup transformation video. This is a look that I've wanted to try for years, but never had any reason to do so. Although I wanted to do it for editorial reasons, there is no reason on an everyday basis for me to be going in and adding the 5 o'clock shadow when I shave in the morning, or drawing on straight eyebrows when I tweezed in the arch in there on purpose. But with Halloween coming up, I had to make sure I got this video done for you all. I managed to get out of jury duty early, and I figured instead of waking up early tomorrow to get it done, I can do it today and already have it ready for you all. So make sure you hit that notification bell so that you're informed of every time I upload a video, because you don't want to miss any of my Halloween tutorials. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you go ahead and hit it. It's free $99 every month. I upload 3 times a week, and I also have something special coming up to my subscribers. And the only way you can win is if you're part of the gang, and we're already 200 strong this year, and we're trying to see how far we can get before the end of the year. So go ahead, join along. I promise you, you'll have a good time. But if you want any information or like to see how I achieved this look that I'm wearing now, just go ahead and continue to watch. Today did not start off on the right foot. I had to go down to jury duty. Although that can be hectic in itself, I'm happy that today was the only day that I had to go down there. We don't have to return tomorrow. Good one on that. Unfortunately, I got caught in the rain, so my hair is looking a mess. But we're going to turn things around because I'm going to go ahead and do a Halloween tutorial to help lift my spirits, get extra content out for you all. And so I decided I wanted to do a male makeover tutorial. Although I am a guy, I am someone who tends to wear very feminine looking makeup, as well as someone who tends to shave off my beard. So I wanted to do a tutorial that you all could possibly use on Halloween if you wanted to. And so we're gonna go ahead and get started with things. And any tools and products that I use today, I will leave in the description bar below, because I am using tools that I normally wouldn't have. So a lot of these tools I may not necessarily know the name offhand, because these aren't everyday use products. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. And my very first step is gonna be handling these brows. I want to go in and do brows before we do complexion products. And so we're gonna start off with the Patrick Ta Shaping Wax. We're gonna use that in the e.l.f. Lash Brow Wand. We're gonna spray a little bit of water on that. And we want to draw our brows straight up, and we want to get them as thick and bushy as possible. And we're just gonna take this and brush everything straight up. I'm not really worried about how thick the product is, because this is going to be a makeover, so things may get a little dramatic. And because my brows tend to grow out this way, I want to brush them back facing the other way to give them the thickest and bushiest look possible. So going against the grain. We want to just try to get those to stay up as strongly as possible. Okay, we're going to do the other side. And now that I have that laid down, I'm going to take the back of my brush and just roll that up against the hairs to get that product to lay those brows straight up against the skin. Then I'm going to go back in, try to smooth them out one more time. I want to try to get these hairs as thick and bushy as possible. But when you're laying them down, things can possibly get moved. So this is just to ensure everything is as feathery as possible. Now that I have my brows laid down, what I want to do is try to get them to look as thick and as straight as possible. I'm someone who likes to tweeze my brows, so I do have a very noticeable arch in them, but we want to try to take that out. We can do that by filling in with some brow powder along here, underneath the arch here, as well as here in the front of the brow. And I'm going to be doing that with my ABH Brow Powder Duo in the shade Dark Brown. On a normal day, I would wear the shade Chocolate, but because I want a dramatic effect, I'm going in with the shade Darker. And there are two shades in this powder. What I'm going to do is start off with this lighter shade here to create the shadow and trace my outline. Then I'm going to use the darker shades to go in and add more depth and dimension. Gonna really load up my brush. brush and try to go under here and remove that arch right from underneath my brow. This lighter powder is just going to help it look like a shadow is there. It's not going to actually look like the actual brow hairs. This will definitely be our guide for later on. Okay, now I want to load my brush up with that darker powder, and we're just going to start from the bottom and we're going to just work up and fill in all of those sparse areas. You want to make sure you come down to that line that you drew to help straighten out our brows. We also want to fill in the top of our brow here. Bring that back straight across. And it should help line up with the tip of the brow hairs that we flattened down. Okay, and as you can see, these are starting to pull through. If you feel more comfortable, you can use a brow pomade, but those tend to leave darker and harsher lines, which may not look as realistic as having just the shadows there and your brow hair sticking up through that. See, we don't have the world's most perfect brows, but they're a lot thicker and a lot straighter than the one I have on this side. We're going to go ahead, skip through, and fill in this side now. Okay, now that we have our brows done, what I want to go ahead and do is add a little bit of foundation. Normally we would be able to skip this step, but because I want to make sure that I'm doing something that you all can follow along, I want to make sure I put a little bit, especially around the 5 o'clock areas, so that when I add it to those areas, it's not giving me any additional help that you all wouldn't have. And for complexion, we're going to be using the Black Opal True Color Foundation Sticks. I'm going to be using the shade Truly Topaz for foundation. And I'm going to be blending that out with the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush, the number 200 brush. And I want to get most of this product here on the outer perimeter on the face. Once again, my main concern is just covering the 5 o'clock areas. Then we can blend that in from there. We want to try to spread this out as far as possible. And whatever's left on the brush, we can just use that to spread all over the rest of the face. Just because I got a little acne scars right there, we'll cover that up too. Add just a little bit more. That'll get it. Now we want to go in and contour our features. For that, we're going to be using the shade Beautiful Bronze. And I'm not 100% sure which brush I want to use for this step, so we're going to start off with the e.l.f. concealer brush and see where that takes us. Okay, one of the first places I want to hit is right here for the temple area. I want to deepen the size of that out for sure. And I also want to go in very lightly using just the very edge of the stick. Come where our cheekbone is and then bring that straight down. I also want to carve out a very strong jawline. So we're going to come out and we're going to make sure we square that off really hard. I also want to widen the width of my chin, so I'm going to come out a little bit past where it naturally starts and put the crease back here. Also come up above where the chin is and make it seem like it dips in further there. As well as, just because it's a popular feature, we're going to put a cleft chin in right here. Instead of going in and making my nose a little thinner than what it naturally is, this time I'm going to go in and make it a little wider, and that's where I'm going to use this e.l.f. concealer brush just to make sure I don't put too much product there. I'm going to start near where the edge of my brows is. We're going to slowly drag a slight line there and bring it out way past where my nose naturally starts. And because most men tend to have hands-on jobs and don't tend to have the most pristine skincare routine, so I am going to go in and add a few wrinkles just to make it seem like there has been a little struggle in my life. So what I want to do is try to go ahead, frown, and get that line to show up a little deeper than what it naturally is. Nothing strong, but I do want to see it there. As well as one forehead line. Actually, let's do two. Okay, do we want to do anything else, Torrence? Actually, one more thing. Under eye fat pads. Want to come in right here. We don't want to go all the way underneath the eye. We want to take it right there, basically the length of the eye. And to blend that out, I'm going to be using my Sigma E50, the large fluff brush. Going to want to just go in very softly and slowly. Well, not necessarily slowly, but we want to go in very gently and just diffuse those edges. And we don't have to worry about things being absolutely perfect. Just have fun, do your best, and the rest will pull through later. Actually, for the smaller areas, this large fluff brush will work. For the larger areas, I'm going to use my Real Technique sculpting brush. That'll help get this jawline diffused a lot faster. Yeah, see. She got some power behind that. Buff out the edges right here. Actually, I'm going to go in with the smaller brush to start this one off. And you want to blend this area down a tad bit. My apologies, you want to blend that up. Baby, when I tell you, this stuff can be so much fun, especially when you've never done it before and you have no idea if it's going to turn out right or not. To me, that's always the best part about it. I'm just so glad that whenever I'm doing transformative makeup, I don't take things too seriously, because if they didn't turn out right, like with the normal eyeshadow day, I would probably be in my feelings. But I always just remind myself, Torrence, you're not a special effects makeup artist, so to not know the job is not a bad thing. But I ain't gonna lie to you, when things turn out cute, I be really feeling myself. Okay, let me get these lines here. And now that I've diffused these, I've noticed a few more things that we can honestly go in and add. And one of those is going to be right here. You want a large, deep V to help accentuate your Adam's apple, and then you want a line down the center of the neck here to make it seem like you have strong neck muscles. Almost forgot those. I'm gonna go in, blend, polish that out. Help diffuse the edges of that. And also diffuse this. Whoops. Now we want to go in and highlight using the shade Kalahari Sand. And we're going to be using the e.l.f. for Ulta, the number 112 Precision Shadow Brush. We're going to be going in with this brush to make sure our lines aren't too strong and we don't add too much product. First thing I want to do, load up my brush and hit up right here. The nose, I want to make sure I widen that. I want this wider than what it would normally be. I want to make sure we got a little bit going on right here, as well as creating dimension to those lines that we put on our forehead. I'm going to go in right beneath them and create that crease to make it seem like they're that much stronger and darker in person. Also want to do this right here near the very base of the under eye area. This will help make those eye fat pockets sit out a little stronger because we put that contour underneath. Also want to go in and add a little bit of highlight underneath where we created our jawline, just to make sure that comes off a little stronger than normal. We're also going to do right here near the nasolabial folds, make that skin stick out a little bit stronger. As well as come right back into the chin where we created our cleft. Want to bring that back in. Finally, our jawline. Want to make sure that line seems very strong underneath there, as well as our Adam's apple. We want to create that beam of light right above it. To blend out underneath my eyes, I'm going to be using the e.l.f. contour brush. I'm going to just go in very lightly. Make sure that eye pads sit there. We just don't want the edges of that line to be harsh. And for the nose, we just want to diffuse the edges here. The center can be rather strong if need be. And now I want to switch over to the e.l.f. Flawless Concealer Brush just to diffuse the edges of the forehead here. And for those forehead lines, we're going to go back to the e.l.f. Contour Brush because that area is a little bit smaller. For right here and most of the rest of the face, I think I'm going to be able to use this concealer brush. Bring this color down. So now I want to go in and add a little bit of dimension to those wrinkles and those lines. So I'm going to pull back out my angled liner brush that we use for our brows, and we're going to pull out a contour powder. This is the KVD Vegan Beauty Powder in the shade Subconscious. And what I want to use this for is to just basically go in very small and add dimension to those wrinkles here, as well as the one right there on the forehead. We want to go as low into that brown spot, but right above where we created that highlight line. We also want the ones right here, right underneath that highlight. You just want to barely get product in that area. Just barely creating the softest lines that we can see. And I know that e.l.f. contour brush had cream product on it, but I'm going to use that to go in and soften up this line. We don't want to erase it, we just want it to be noticeable. No, we want it to be something that people can notice, but not something they can pinpoint. Okay, and I'm just now realizing I did not bring powder or the next brush that I need, so we'll be right back. Now to set everything, I want to go in with my RCMA No Color Powder and the Real Technique setting brush. We're going to first use this to set around the eyes and then do a light dusting on the rest of the face. Normally I would be worried about creasing and wrinkles and things like that, but truth be told, I'm going for a rugged look today, so I'm not even worried about it. I'm going to set the entire eye area. And to speed things up, I'm going to use a powder puff. This one is from Fiona Styles. And we're just going to go ahead, load up this puff here, and pack this stuff on. And just because this is the closest brush near me, I'm going to use this blush brush to knock off any excess powder. Now we want to go in and add our goatee. For that, we're going to be using an IT Cosmetics Dual Fiber brush. I am not sure of the name of it, but I'll make sure I leave it in the description bar below. As well as a contour powder. I believe the shade that I would normally use, Subconscious, wouldn't be dark enough, so I have a darker shade here in this Pro palette. Once again, I'm not sure of the name of this powder, but I'm going to pop it out later and make sure I leave that name in the description bar as well. Okay, we're going to load up our brush, and we're going to start off near the edges here first. Start along the lower jawline. And as you can see, this is creating a dark spot right there in those areas. And what we want to do after that is reload our brush and hit up around the mouth. Go back in and bring that down a slight bit underneath the jawline. You're just going to use this until you feel as if your beard is dark enough. Bro, I am looking rough. I am looking rough. Just for dramatic effect, we're going to go ahead, pull out this eyeshadow palette here. You just need any matte black. what I'm gonna do is just take this brush into my Tartelette palette. This shade here, Fashionista, is a matte black. I wanna see if I can just get my brush in there the tiniest bit. It may take several dips just to get the whole brush head in there, but I'm gonna take that, knock that off as much as possible, and see if I can create a little more depth and dimension near the chin and around the corner of the mouth, and right here along the very outer part of the jawline. Like I want that part to be really, really dark. Along the neck, below the Adam's apple. And although I know I said that was going to be the last step, I want to go in and do one more thing. Right now I have really hydrated lips because I have lip balm on. I want to take a little bit of this powder and just help bring that down just a little bit. My lips don't have to look dry, but I don't want them to come off as glossy in the end. Yeah, see, it took away the shine, but my lips right now still feel okay to me. And we're gonna skip Fix Plus because I'm not looking to add a glow to my skin, but we're gonna add All Nighter so that it lasts all day. Cheap fan, expensive breeze, good times. Gonna give this a few more seconds and I'll be back to give you all my final thoughts. And this is the final look. Oh my God. I'm sorry, y'all. I am looking at it right here on the screen and I have never done a routine like this before, and I'm telling you, it's taking I don't know why it is so funny to see myself like this. Like, I don't do hats. I don't do 5 o'clock shadows. Or at least I try not to. Sometimes when you shave it, things don't turn out right. But I hope you all truly did enjoy this tutorial. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you're also subscribed to the channel so that you don't miss any of my future videos, as well as all the videos I'm going to be doing this week for Halloween. Make sure you leave me a comment down below with what plans you have for Halloween this year. Although it's my absolute favorite holiday of the year, there's a pretty good chance that I'm not going to be able to get out and party the way that I normally would. But I'm blessed to just be able to say that I'm here again for another year to be able to even celebrate my favorite holiday, as well as enjoying planning my makeup, which for me is the best part of the holiday. And if for any reason you all create a look using this tutorial, please make sure you tag me on social media. I always leave all of my usernames and things in the comment section. But with nothing else, I hope you all remember to practice, continue to stay blessed, and until next time, goodbye, YouTube.